All right. All righty. You are looking live at Sold Out MetLife Stadium, where today the 16-0 and playoff-bound New York Giants are taking on the 0-16 Philadelphia Eagles. And why the Philadelphia Eagles 0-16? Because they suck. They lost to the Cardinals. They were up 21-6, and they still lost at home. The Philadelphia Eagles suck. The Philadelphia Eagles were, 10-1. Now they're 11-5. The Philadelphia Eagles suck. Rolls right off the tongue there, folks. Philadelphia sucks. And welcome to the Gridiron. Anybody out there at all is going to spend a little bit of time with me here this evening, I greatly appreciate it. Or if anybody's going to spend any time watching a replay this, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. I'm going to try to go about 30 minutes here tonight. Shoot my mouth off for about 30 minutes. Anybody got anything to say, please feel free. Fire away, throw it in the chat box. Usually check on the chat box like every 5 or 10 minutes or so. As soon as I see something in there, I try to respond to it as fast as I can. So please feel free and fire away. But plus also, instead of me just rambling on for half an hour, 45 minutes, or whatever I wind up being, right? It's just nice to talk to another Giant fan. So please feel free to fire away. Before I get started, if anybody wants to help support my channel out, it would mean the absolute world to me. In the description box below, the very top link in the description box takes you to my membership page. I have 3 different membership levels. The first one's called the Saquon. Second one's called the Lawrence Taylor. And the third membership level I got is called the Gridiron. Each one's got their own little perks to them. So if you want to help support my channel out, it would mean so much to me. And I thank you in advance. Thank you. If you're subscribed to my channel, once again, thank you. I can use all the support I can get, guys. But if not, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon. That way, next time I go live, if I put a video out, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge. What do you got to lose, right? But if you are subscribed to my channel, thank you. And then finally, also, a little ways down in the description box, there's 2 additional links. The top one's a Facebook link, which I'll go over in just a second. The one just underneath it, I'm an old fart. I'm an old timer, old-time fart, right? It's Twitter. It's a Twitter link. It's always been Twitter. It's Twitter today. For me, anyway, it'll be Twitter tomorrow. 3 trillion years from now, it'll be Twitter. It's Twitter. Whatever letter of the alphabet Elon Musk wants to call it, that's on him. I'm not going to call it that. It's Twitter. I got a Twitter account, right? If you follow me on Twitter, I'll follow you back. That's an absolute promise. Basically, I try to put Giants-related information in the group in my Twitter account every day. So I said, once again, if you follow me, I'll follow you back. That's a promise. And the link just above it's a Facebook link. It takes you to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. We have over 7,500 members in the group. It's doing simply marvelous, might I add. Basically, if I'm alive and breathing, if I have internet access, I'm putting stuff in this group 365. And not only do I post stuff in there, but the members post stuff in there as well. So between me and the members, there's a boatload. There's a ton. Not only that, there's a whole lot of information, New York Giants information going in this group every day. Please, it's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. Please join the group. You won't be dissatisfied. I promise. All right, with all that stuff said and done and out of the way with, well, the Eagles, they're, now whether Sirianni, because I just hate that worthless piece of human. I just, there's somebody you want to take a baseball bat to and just smash his face in. That's the guy. I just can't stand the guy. I think I was against the Giants last year or somebody like that. They were beating some, might have been the Giants. And, I don't know. I've never seen a coach do this before. Because usually coaches, even when things are going bad, coaches are usually pretty classy and all that, and they take stuff and, I've never seen this before. Never, ever. And it just goes to show you what a worthless piece of human trash, this worthless scum is. Scum. Absolutely. Just want to smash his face in with a baseball bat. Something was going, and they were beating. I said it might have been the Giants, and sort of a play went good, or they were beating up on a team. And I said once again, it could have been, and the camera was like zooming in on him. I don't know. He's like looking at the camera, going, looking right at the camera. It wasn't like talking to a guy going, yeah, good job or something. No, he's looking right at the camera, right in the. What coach does that? Seriously, could you? They will, like he pumps it fast or whatever. He's talking to his guys or something like that. He's hugging his guy. That's it. Hey, who looks into a camera and just starts doing? What an absolute worthless piece of trash. Absolute trash. So, so when he starts talking about like maybe resting his players and stuff like that, who knows? The guy's an absolute moron. It's just a matter of time before he gets fired because, as we can see, he's not a good coach. Last year, the Eagles had a better team. They had like the best team in football, and they still couldn't win the Super Bowl. They had a very good defensive coordinator, a very good offensive coordinator who are now gone. And as we can see, and they're not decimated by injuries. They're not like the Giants, right? They got a couple injuries. Ooh, got a couple injuries. Ooh, they're not decimated like the Giants are. So I don't want to hear nothing with injuries with the Eagles. Ooh, we got to get out of here. But I'm just goes to show you. Like I said, their defense absolutely blows. Absolute trash. Their offense, I don't know what they were doing. They're up 21-6, I think it was, to the Cardinals, the 3-win Cardinal team. And the Cardinals are just walking up and down the field on them. Kyler Murray, God bless you, brother. Right? I picked on Kyler Murray a few times because I didn't in the past. I didn't, But I'll tell you what, hey, Kyler, thank you, brother. Thank you. Exposing it, just absolute trash. Their defense. He was just walking up, and they had like I forgot what it was. They had like 32 or 33 first. You know how hard it is to get 30-something first downs. They were just it wasn't like because I'm saying the Cardinals scored 30. The points that they scored, they wound up winning. They weren't like 80-yard bombs around. They were just methodically walking down the field. They're over 200 yards rushing. Just absolute trash. The Eagles' defense is. And their offense, is doing good. But they got two Hall of Famers on the, on the offensive line. Their offensive line is one of the best in football. Hurts is a very decent quarterback. He's not worth $55 million a year. Sorry. Put him in like another system or put him behind a bad offensive line. Don't give him those two wide receivers and this, that, and the other thing. Let's see how good Jalen Hurts is. He's not going to be. So you give him the guy fifth. He has 352 rushing touchdowns this year. That's because they have. That's the only way they can score. They have the tush push. That's the only way they can score. That's the only way they can go fourth down. That's all they got. Right. So but obviously they have a decent. Offense, they've won some close games. They beat was it Buffalo, in overtime. They beat the, Cowboys at home. Yeah. But, they've also escaped, the Giants almost beat them the first game of the season. Belichick was kicking field goals instead of trying to go for it on fourth down all the time. And he was down deep. The New England Patriots could have beaten the Eagles week one. Anyway, so when Sirianni starts talking about, I think I might start resting my players and stuff. The guy's an absolute worthless piece of trash. I wouldn't trade his information or nothing for a penny. And absolutely nothing at all. So you don't know. The guy's, you don't know. I just can't wait for them to get knocked out of the playoffs and I can just laugh at him again. Absolutely laugh at him again. But they do have some injuries. DeVonta Smith, the guy weighs like 32 pounds, maybe soaking. That's with his uniform on and soaking wet and with cement shoes on. The guy don't weigh nothing. He got injured. He was hobbling off the field last week at the end of the game. So they got some guys that are a little injured. I don't know if they're going to want to put him in. And maybe re-injure them because they're going to need those guys at full strength because they're going to have to possibly. I wouldn't be surprised at all if the Commanders, give the Cowboys a little something. I wouldn't be surprised at all. I don't know if they're going to win, but I mean, the Commanders can move the ball. The enemy has them moving the ball, have some scoring some points. So, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, if they can keep the Cowboys at bay for a little while and get the tide rolling in the Commanders' direction and all that stuff and everything, that could be a heck of a game. That could be a heck of a game. Usually, I mean, for the most part, maybe not every year, but it seems like always for the most part, the Commanders always seem to beat the Cowboys one time. They always seem to, sometimes they go into Dallas and beat them. They always seem to give them a real good run for the money. One of the games, it wasn't in Dallas because Dallas is killing everybody at home. Except for when it's a close game, then they got to start paying the refs off, and then they pay the refs off, and then the refs just, make sure the Cowboys win. So if it's not a blowout, if it is a close game, that's when the refs start getting the palms greased by Jerry and the NFL and stuff like that. And the refs make sure the Cowboys win at home, right? But, I mean, the Cowboys are a little different team on the road, and, this might be it for, you have to wait and see, right? For Rivera, probably be it for him. You have to wait and see. Are they going to rally? Because they don't like the Cowboys, right? They may not like, they're going to rally. Let's have one good game before Coach Rivera gets fired, or do they have their bags packed already? So I have to wait and see. But I mean, that could be that could be a struggle. Now, the only way, basically, that the Eagles are going to, have any chance at all of going to a Super Bowl, that I really believe they need to be at home. Now, obviously, the 49ers have the number one seed. So if the 49ers were to win the divisional round, the 49ers will host the championship game, right? And, I have to wait and see. If, right? So that would be the 49ers here. If the Cowboys finish, right, and second, the Lions would be third. Whoever, I don't know, whoever won, the Bucks or whoever winds up winning that, they'll have to finish. They'll have to play against the Eagles. So the Eagles would have to go on the road and beat the Bucks or whoever winds up being. Well, say if they do, just say they do. Well, their next game is going to be in San Francisco. So they need help. Their health, but they can also use, try to win. Go home, they can't get the number one seed. So, but try to win the division. So you can't win the division if, and then again, they are playing the Giants, right? And Giants haven't beaten the Eagles since Jesus Christ walked the earth. But, they have a harder time winning the game if they're putting their backups in there or resting some of their starters. So we'll have to wait and see. You don't know. It could be all just smoke and mirrors. And I'm thinking about resting all my players, or some of my starters. So we'll have to wait and see. That's to be determined, but we'll have to find out. That's 4:25 on Sunday, because basically the Commanders and Cowboys and the Eagles and the Giants, right? Because they don't want it to be, and I understand it makes all the sense in the world to me. They don't want it where like the Giants and the Eagles are at 1:00 and the Cowboys and the Commanders are 4:25 or whatever, right? And then, say the Eagles were to lose, right? Well, at 4:30, the Cowboys might just start, put their backups in there or something like that, So they want the best going up against the best for the most, you don't want nobody knowing who won or nothing, Or if the Cowboys went first and they won, well, then the Eagles are like, well, we ain't got nothing to play for. We're locked into the number 5th spot or whatever like that. We're just putting our backups in there. So, so the NFL doesn't want that. And it makes sense. You want your best going up against their best. And that's why I would like it too. If the Giants could be, I'm 59. If I live another 30 years, if I'm lucky enough, right? If one time, if I get down on my knees tonight and sweet dear baby Jesus, please, sometime in the next 30 years, can the Giants just beat the Eagles one time? Just one time. That would be 60 more football games, 2 times a year. right? 30 years, 60 times. Can the Giants go 1-59? Sweet dear baby Jesus. 1-59 against the Eagles in the next 30. That's all I ask. That's all I mean, one time the Giants could beat the Eagles. It would just be absolutely, it'd just be unbelievable. I mean, yeah. It's takes me back to the 70s when I know the Eagles beat the Giants, I think it was like 12 times in a row. The Redskins beat the Giants 11 times in a row. In the 70s, what did the Giants do? From 70 to 79 against the Cowboys, the Giants beat the Cowboys 3 times out of 20 games, 17-3. And the worst thing was we beat the Cowboys in 70, 72, and 74, I believe it was. So 75, 76, 77, 78, 70. We didn't beat the Cowboys at all. It wasn't until 1980 we beat the. So it's kind of taking me back to those days. And top that off too, the Giants went 9 years at home. 9 years. Well, actually, with the Cowboys, they went 10 years, right? 10. Yeah. No, 9 years. They went 9 years in a row too. From 1971 to 1979, the Giants didn't beat the Cowboys at home. Giants beat the Cowboys at home in 1970. 1980, they beat them 38-35, I believe it was. So the Giants went 9 years in a row at home without beating the Cowboys. So basically, anytime in the 70s the Cowboys came to New York or Yale Bowl or wherever, Long Island, right, or actually New Jersey, Actually, they played the Giants in 4 different places. They played them in New York, they played them in Long Island, they played them in Connecticut, and they played them in New Jersey. But basically, back in the 70s, right, wherever they wound up playing, right, they 9 years in a row they beat the Giants. What was the same thing with the Eagles? From 1973 to 1981, the Giants did not beat the Eagles at home. 73 was a tie, 23-23. That was the final game ever that the Giants ever played at Yankee Stadium. As the clock was running down, I think Norm Snead hit Bob Tucker down around the 10-yard line or so. But the Giants had no timeouts left. They were running. The clock was running and running out of time. If they had more time, there was like another minute or so in the game. The Giants might have scored a touchdown and might have won the game. But they were down 23-20. Norm Snead said it's Bob Tucker around the 10, somewhere around there. The clock is running. The offense, whatever, they run off the field. The field goal kicking unit comes on, and Pete Gogolak gets ready, and they snap the ball. Basically, almost just like his time expires. The ball. I think Norm Snead puts the ball down. Pete Gogolak kicks the ball through there. It's good. So it was 23-20. But from 1973 to 1981, like 9 years in a row, the Giants did not beat the Eagles at home. It reminds me, like, just the way we can't beat it just reminds me of that. And then Dick Vermeil took over. The second game, the Giants beat the Eagles at the Vet in 1975, the first time. I think it was opening day to beat them, 23-14. But the second game in 1975, from the second game in 1975 until the second time they played them in 1981, it was like 12 games in a row. The Giants lost, or 11 or 12 games, or whatever it was. The Giants lost the Eagles like that many times. It was it just takes me back to that. That's why I can't stand the Cowboys. I can't stand the Eagles. I despise the Redskins the most, actually, back in the 1970s. But I've warmed up to them now because they just suck. I mean, they haven't won a Super Bowl since 1991. So I'm kind of warming up to them a little bit. I almost have a little soft spot in my heart for them, and I'm pulling for them. I'd love to see them beat the Cowboys. So the Commanders, the Redskins / Washington football team / Commanders, right? I have a little soft spot in my heart for them now, but I hated them the most back in the 70s. But anyway, enough of that. Hey, let's talk. Let's talk about some injuries here, shall we? I got to pop them up here. Okay. All right. So. Now, Pinnock and Schmitz, they did not participate today. Pinnock, it was a foot, but now we're saying it's a toe. So we'll have to wait and see. I mean, Belton, obviously, I'll tell you what, Belton had a heck of a game. The interceptions were passes that were overthrown. It wasn't like, he was like eyeing up Stafford, right? And the guy was cutting in front of him. He was just eyeing him up, and he saw Stafford plant his foot and throw the ball, and he charged in front of the wide receiver, bam, picked it off and started going. The balls were overthrown, from good defense or good pressure, whatever it was, but the balls were overthrown, not great pass, but you got to give them some credit. Just because the balls were overthrown, they hit you. Well, the one, he basically scooped it up off the carpet, and that was a real good interception. But you still got to catch the balls, and yes, he did. Kudos to you, brother. Way to go. So if Penei doesn't go, Belton, we'll say it's going to be interesting to see. It's a bunch of things. This is a heck of an offseason. Let me tell you what. What do we think about, Penei and Belton? If we say bye-bye to Xavier, Xavier's making a heck of a case for his, even him, his resume. He's making a heck of a resume for himself. He's last half of the season, whatever it was. He's done. Tell you what, playing all the snaps, and I'll tell you what, he's making a heck of a name for himself. So you got to give him some kudos. But be interesting to see what the Giants want to do as far as saying maybe bye-bye, because we don't have a ton of cap space. We got to sign our draft class. We can free up some money here and there if need be. But I said, we got a lot of, we got some, Saquon, I said Xavier, Adoree Jackson's bye, Isaiah Simmons. We got a lot of guys, got to, make some decisions on here. So we don't have a lot of cap space, but we're going to have a lot of cap space in 2025. We'll have a lot of cap space then. But, the Giants can maybe use a second, third round pick, maybe to get a safety, right? Add some more depth. If we have Penei, have Belton, and add another safety, because you don't have to draft a safety in the first round. Not many safeties get drafted in the first round. So you can grab a good safety in the second round. It's going to be interesting to see, because, we got so many holes to fill. We got guys going, so we have to fill those holes. And then we have holes already, So it'd be interesting to see exactly where we go. Just because, we draft a safety in the fourth round. Like Javarius Owens. The guy's not even dressing. So he's not even seeing the field. So, you don't know, what they think of him going forward, right? But just because you draft somebody, also Javarius Owens was a later round pick. So, just because you draft somebody in the third or fourth round doesn't mean they're going to be a starter either, or a star, right? So this is going to be a heck of an offseason. The Giants are obviously in a rebuild and compete mode, but we got some pieces going, and obviously behind that we got to add some depth as well too. So it's never going to complete. I've said this before. You're never going to just sit back, and Shane's never going to sit back, or whoever the GM is. It's like, whew, we're complete. We don't got to do nothing. That's never going to happen. Never in a million years. But the Giants got a lot of work cut out for them. But what we got here? Oh, hold on. I do apologize. I have 17,000 tabs open up here. I see Deonte Banks, the shoulder, he was limited. Carter, Coughlin, Holmes, Tyrod, and Banks all limited in practice. Limited participation. Banks with his shoulder. The season's over with. You like to see him out there, this, that, and the other thing, but you don't know if he'll be out there. Carter Coughlin, he had himself a heck of a season. Not so much defensively, because he's a little bit of a liability on defense. However, the Giants have used him at the inside and edge rusher. So he has experience both places. Is he going to be a liability if he's on the defensive side of the ball? Yep. But can he play stuff? Yep. But he's done very well for himself in special teams, and special teams are huge. We complain about like the offensive line, we complain about Daniel Jones, this, that, and everything. But when our special teams start screwing up, what do we do? What do we do? we need a punt returner. Why are we punting the other team and they run it back 80 yards for time? Why? I mean, you're not hearing that too much, right? Got Gunnar Olszewski, right, with the special teams player of the week. Yeah, right. I hope we can bring that guy back, right? I mean, let's not be jack wagons about this stuff. We got a guy, okay, right? I mean, he's not Devin Hester. I get that. He's not Gale Sayers. Gale Sayers used to return punts and kickoffs a while ago. But, I mean, but, we're not hearing nothing about, bobbling the ball or letting the ball bat this or, we're not hearing any of that. Well, let's keep that rolling, right? Let's bring the guy back. The guy, I think we can find a roster spot for the guy, right? I think we can, right? Let's bring him back so we don't have to hear that anymore, But we're also hearing doing pretty good with the special teams, especially. I mean, if you got a kicker who is good enough, you can almost darn near 90%, 85, 90% of the time touchbacks on the kickoffs. The thing is, what you need is the punt return, and we're doing pretty good. I mean, with McLeod, Carter Coughlin, even Darnay Holmes now. Darnay Holmes, right? What's going to happen with him? This is his final season. We're going to try to bring him back. We're Carter Coughlin. This is his final season. Cam Brown, his final season. Are you going to bring him back? Did they earn just enough to be brought back? I mean, because it wouldn't cost you a lot of money, and it would help ensure your special teams, which, as we're finding out, is huge, right? So, but I said we got Carter Coughlin, Darnay Holmes. He's got a foot, and Tyrod Taylor with his back. I guess his back's a little sore from being sacked so many times. So the Giants are number 2 overall. I mean, to be fair, or whatever you want to call it, right? I mean, if you add another game on there, now you're adding the 17th game on there. So we've been sacked 83 times in 16 games. 86 Eagles were sacked 104 times in 16 games, right? So, I mean, that's far and away the absolute most pathetic. Of course, Lawrence Taylor had he had 20 and a half sacks that season. So he had something to do with that. But, that's far and away. We're at 83. They're at 104. I mean, just going to show you how unbelievable. Hold on. 16, 32, 64, 80, 96. So they got sacked. Okay. So the Eagles got sacked 13 times every 2 times they played the game. Two games they played. 13 sacks and 2. Wow. But, I guess Tyrod from being sacked so however many times, I guess his back's hurting him a little bit. But 83 sacks. Now, you're going up against the Eagles, so quite possibly Tyree Phillips won't be playing. So we're going to have Matt Parrott, right, going in there. So might get a couple sacks. So we might hit the 85, 86, 87 mark, somewhere around there. Hopefully we don't hit 90. Hopefully not. But the Eagles, though, they got Jordan Davis, Hassan Reddick, and DeVonta Smith. They did not participate in practice on Wednesday. DeVonta Smith with his ankle. Now, once again, he is huge because, what's made the Eagles so good over last season and this season, especially at the wide receiver position. Right now, Dallas Goedert got injured. He was out for a little while. That certainly hurt the Eagles, okay? But he's been back. But what's made the Eagles so special, many things. But last year and this year was, especially last year, I mean, Goddard was healthy, but they have they got Smith and Brown healthy, all healthy, right? Now, if you get DeVonta Smith, I'm surprised it's actually taken this long to actually get injured. I mean, the guy weighs as I said, 30 pounds soaking wet. But, so it's tough to, focus in on, one guy, we'll double team this or this, it's almost like pick your poison. Well, I mean, if DeVonta Smith's hobbling around, okay, you put one guy on him. We'll double teams Brown, right? So I said, well, one thing that really made the Eagles so, is their offensive line, especially last year, was healthy. Smith, Goddard, Brown, healthy, right? So it helps when everybody's healthy. But Smith, he's hobbling around a little bit. Now, no matter what, after this week, the Eagles have to play a playoff game, no matter what. Now, you don't know if that's going to be Saturday or Sunday. So does he want to risk maybe having him injure himself again? I'll have to wait and see. Now, the same thing is here with Jordan Davis, defensive tackle, with his ankle. Son Reddick, they says, it has an illness, so we'll have to wait and see. But Zach Cunningham, he has a knee. He was limited. Vontae Maddox, a cornerback with an elbow, he was limited. And Darius Slayton with his knee, he was limited too. So they're a little banged up, especially on the defensive side, right? So, I'll have to wait and see. But, the thing is, no matter what, they have to play a game. There's no bye week for them, unlike last year. Right. Like last year, they played the Giants and then they played the 49ers. They played 2 games at home. They played the Giants, right, who they beaten 352 times in a row. And then they beat the 49ers, who basically at the end of the game, even in the second quarter, whatever, they didn't have anybody to throw a pass. We're number 1. Yeah. Okay. Well, see where that got you in the Super Bowl, huh? Nah. Yeah, you're number 1. Well, actually, no. Last year you were number 2. So, Eagles, yeah, love it, baby, love it. You suck, Philadelphia. Anyway, all right. Well, at least, thankfully, Sexy Dexy named to the Pro Bowl. It's like Lawrence was not even in the top 10 defensive tackles in fan voting, but he still made it outright because of the votes of the NFL players and the coaches. So, thankfully there's that, because there's the popularity contest, and I can see that, the fans want to go and they want to see who the players, but, we're also trying to put, the best in there as well, too. I can understand, once again, the fan voting, because now it's more like a flag football game than anything else. But you also want the best in there. And I'll tell you what, if Dexter Lawrence is not there in the Pro Bowl, that's just an absolute absolute atrocity, whatever the word is. Lawrence is the first Giants defensive lineman to be named to back-to-back Pro Bowl since JPP 2011-2012. He is the first interior Giants interior lineman to be selected to multiple. Since Arnie Weinmeister 4 years in a row. Arnie Weinmeister played 4 seasons in the NFL, and he's in the Hall of Fame. So that goes to show you how good Arnie Weinmeister. Arnie Weinmeister came from the All-American Football Conference. He played for the New York Yankees for 2 seasons. Played 4 seasons for the Giants from 1950 to 53, and then he went to the Canadian Football League and played 2 seasons. So he played 8 seasons altogether. But he only played 4 seasons, Arnie Weinmeister, in the NFL. And he's in the Hall of Fame. He was good. He was between him and Al DeRogatis, that was the best interior defensive lineman the 2 Giants have had. Unfortunately, Arnie Weinmeister only played 4 seasons, and Al DeRogatis quite possibly could have been a Hall of Famer, but he got injured in college, I believe it was, and it kind of affected his pro career. But he was a very good. The Giants back then, very good defense. But as I said, with Al DeRogatis, he got injured. He only played so many seasons as well, too. I think it was his knee. Something to do with his leg. I think it was one of his knees. But, early 50s, Al DeRogatis and Arnie Weinmeister, that was the best 2 interior defensive linemen the Giants ever had on the same field at the same time. And Lawrence is the first Giants player selected a consecutive Pro Bowl since Landon Collins in 2016 to 2018. The Giants have 2 alternate Pro Bowl players. Saquon Barkley is second, and edge rusher Kayvon Thibodeau is the third alternate. What we had here? Now, this year, with the unfortunately for Bobby Okereke, he got snubbed. 142 total tackles. So, I mean, he's on pace. He might get 150 if he gets in on 8 tackles against the Eagles, because the Eagles probably have the ball a lot. He might get on 8 tackles. So he'll have possibly 150 tackles for the season, 10 tackles for loss, 10 pass breakups, 2 interceptions, 4 forced fumbles, 1.5 sacks, and he's played every defensive snap, and he's been snubbed. Yeah, that's just a shame. That's should not have happened. Should not have happened. But I mean, it is what it is. Also, I know he with Sexy. I saw a stat that said that he is third, I believe it is, as far as interior linemen, third in overall pressures, I believe it is, despite being double teamed the second most. I guess Aaron Donald is the first. And but I mean, you also look at it too, is that the guy's playing with a bad hamstring, and he's on a pitch count, right? If he was healthy like he was last season, his stats would be even better. But it's good to see. Dexter Lawrence has been the best, the most dominant player, shall we say, on the Giants, because you can't say Andrew Thomas, because Andrew Thomas, with his hamstring, he's been kind of, no pun intended, hamstrung all season long, right? He missed all those games, and he came back, and I don't even know if he's even still healthy, because, I mean, a lot of his, according to Pro Football Focus, some of his grades are not super spectacular like they were last season. So I think he might still be affected from that hamstring, So, but I mean, Dexter has been the best player the Giants have had all season long. So the Giants, on a bad team, bad season, bad this, bad that, and all. The Giants are going to have one guy going to the Pro Bowl. It should be Sexy. I said this, the one. You could say Kayvon with all of the sacks, but I mean, he's had the sacks, but I mean, a lot of, I mean, it just, game changing plays, and oh man, did you see Kayvon? He had so many. I mean, I know he's been asked to do a lot of things, and I guess I get that all. Maybe he's not always put in the best position to make plays and tackles and all that, but I said, guys had a boatload of sacks, double-digit sacks. Thank you, Kayvon. I hope you're a Giant forever, this, that, and the other thing. But, I mean, if he's going to go to to be a Pro Bowler, as I said, Caracaze would be the number 2 guy, without question. I mean, he's had a phenomenal season. I'll tell you what, that's a heck of a pickup for the Giants. The Giants, have to start deciding about what Micah McFadden, are they going to roll with him going forward, or Darian Beavers? Maybe next season he comes back from his second season after being injured. He should be even better. Beavers got the size, 6'4", 250 or something like that. The dude's got the size. Now, once again, is he going to be a world beater or not? Who knows? But it might be a heck of a competition next year between McFadden and Beavers, and who goes against the Caracaze. We do need, we need a lot of guys. We need another edge. We got to get another edge rusher. I don't know what's going on with Azeez Ojulari. Next season will be Azeez's 4th season with the Giants, and that might be his last season. But we need another edge rusher. You get such a laundry list. You can only fill so many spots, but we really could use, I mean, Ashawn's done a good job, Robinson, but he's also had some injuries as well, too. But Ashawn's, he's kind of like, he's a torch holder. He's not 24 years old. Hey, let's put, let's have Sexy and Ashawn together for the next 5 so years or whatever, and, Nacho's okay, but, he's only, Nacho's only so good, but we do need we could use another stud of a defensive lineman. But once again, that the one thing, that would be, is that somebody wanted to say the Giants, the Giants are drafting 5th. They might draft 4th. They might draft 6th or 7th, whatever. But just say they're drafting 5th. One thing, they have 2 second-round picks, right? So, I mean, you figure your first round pick and your second round pick should definitely be people that you can not so much maybe plug and play, but guys that can contribute. So if somebody wanted to jump up from, say, like whatever, 12th, and there's a lot of quarterback needy teams, right? Somebody wants to jump up to, because you figure, you look at some of these other guys, Marvin Harrison Jr. is probably not going to make it out of the top 5. Maybe one of these other tackles may not make it out of the top. You know what I mean? So for a quarterback needy team wants to jump up and trade with the Giants, and the Giants go back however many spots, and they pick up that team's first round pick from next season, and maybe a third round pick from this year, another start collecting some extra draft capital. That's where you can really, make some good, big impact on your roster, especially if you get a second or an additional second or a third round the next year's draft. This draft's coming up, So gonna be interesting. But as I said, it's good for Sexy being in there, and it's a shame that a Case got snubbed, but it is what it is. Then we got, this is from, I think it's from Patty Trainer. 6 New Year's resolutions for the New York Giants. And this is, first one is get healthy. How crazy? No, make sure it is Patty Trainer. I listen to her every day. Yep, Patricia Trainer. Yeah, from Locked On Giants. She does a very good job. She dumbs stuff down. You know what I mean? I mean, some guys, the way they talk, and stuff just kind of goes over my head. I don't know if they get around and then they beat their chest. You hear the language I was talking about? You know what I mean? Can we talk about it so like the average fan knows what we're doing? So Patty Trainer does that. So after I get done, she fills me with a lot of information. Right? She has a show 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. It's a half an hour long show, and after I'm done listening to her, I'm like, thanks, Patty. Thanks for the information. Right. And the next day I listen to her, and because she's been covering the Giants for 30 years now. So she's in the locker room talking to the people and all of this stuff and everything like that. And she dumbs everything down, very knowledgeable, very, very knowledgeable. So she's talking about obviously getting healthy. That's one huge thing. How crazy were the injuries this season? It was crazy to the point where the Giants had 4 different men kick for them, something that was is unheard. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely. 4. Well, actually, York never made it. Well, if you want, Cade York is on the injury reserve, but he never actually kicked for the Giants. He was on the practice squad. And so he got injured on the practice squad. I mean, of course, that's right down the Giants' alley this season, right? But we had the Scottish Hammer. Obviously kick for us as well too, right? He kicked the field goal, but and he's injured as well too. I'm surprised he didn't wind up getting put on injured reserve, right? I mean, it's like we had 3 kickers put on injured reserve. We got Crosby in. As our 4th kicker because 3 of them got injured. I mean, who gets 3 kickers on injured reserve in one season? And they said we almost had to put a punter on injured reserve too. It's just unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Football is a violent game and injuries are going to happen, but the Giants, a number of soft tissue injuries that seem to have popped up, hamstrings, groins, etc., need to be curtailed. Whether that's stretching better, incorporating more flexibility, or whatever the solution might be, this team must stop leading the league in man games lost. Yep. Next one, close the talent gap with the Cowboys and the Eagles. Now, the thing is like with the, as you saw, the Eagles last year pushed a lot of chips in the middle of the table. What happened? They went to the Super Bowl. Okay, good for you. But, now that the salary cap is, and they can't afford all the guys from last year, they got some of the guys left, right? For greener pastures, shall I say. And now their team's worse, and they suck, and I love it. Well, going forward, like with the Cowboys, right? They're going to have to pay. They got Dak. I mean, you're seeing things. He's going to want $55, maybe $60 million a year. ABCD Lambs, he's got to get paid. He's going to want $25, $30 million a year. And what about Micah Parsons? What's he going to want? 80, 90 million? I mean, seriously, right? 30. if not more. So you got between ABCD Lamb, Micah Parsons, and Dak Prescott. You're looking at quite possibly maybe $120 million a year for 3 guys. So what's that going to do about with some of the other talent that they have? Bye-bye. So I think, if so facto, I think by default, the Giants are going to maybe start closing the gap maybe a little bit with the Cowboys, because the Cowboys, if they want to keep that talent, they got to pay for them, right? I mean, or even if ABCD gets 25 a year, I'd have a hard time seeing Micah Parsons taking anything under 30. Hard time. And I said, even if Dak maybe gets 55. So you figure 55 and 25, what's that? 60. That's 80 plus 30. So 110 million. Now they're going to, so, I don't know if they'll all get their set all at the same time, but somewhere along the line, they're going to start having to pay these guys, and that's the problem about drafting good players and all of that. They want to start making the money. Javon Diggs, if you keep him, what's he going to want? Right? So there's some of you talent goes, bye-bye, right? No, but that's why, like with the, with the Eagles, they try to win on a quarterback's rookie salary, and that's what they tried to do with Jalen Hurts. Now he's not quite up to whatever his salary is. They're not paying him like 55 a year, whatever it is. But his salary is going to start going up. They paid him $255 million, whatever it was, 255, I think it was, for 5 years. So $50 million a year or whatever. I mean, okay. But once his salary starts going, some of your talent. Bye-bye. Right? So I mean, I think if so, by default, I think the Giants might start maybe closing the gap a little bit. But the one thing the Giants need to do, okay, whether they get this first round pick or whether they trade back and collect some more picks, and then the second round pick, they got to get some different makers. They just can't get a guy. He's a nice piece of the puzzle. He's good. Yeah. You got to get some difference makers. One of them, you got to get a dog, a wide receiver. You got some nice pieces there. You got a little Parmesan, sprinkling the Parmesan on the spaghetti, right? Right? Some nice little, stuff to sprinkle, But you need the man, right? The Eagles got 2, Cowboys got 1. Right? Giants have nobody. Right? And if you get the dog, if you have the Odell Beckham Jr., 2014, 2015, whatever, right? If you have that, makes everybody else better. Because when you got Odell Beckham over here and the defense just start, he's there, he is right there. Okay, you got him here. He's sliding over. I got him deep. We got 19 guys worrying about him, right? Well, that makes everybody else so much better. Right? It's like when you got like Aaron Donald on your defensive front. 9 guys are blocking Aaron Donald. Well, what should you do? You should up your game, because you're only getting 1-on-1. Okay? So if you're worth your weight in salt, if you're a good defensive lineman, you should get some extra sacks or tackles, because Aaron Donald's taking on the entire offensive line. Right? It's like with Reggie White. Clyde Simmons one year, I think, had like 20 sacks one year. Why? Well, because they had 13, the whole offensive line slid toward Reggie White, right? So he wouldn't get 35 sacks in the game. So everybody's blocking Reggie White. So Clyde Simmons had one good year. He cashed in on it and went to the Cardinals and really didn't do a whole heck of a lot, I don't think, there, because Reggie White didn't come with him. Okay. But, we need the dog. We got to get, and we need, once again, we need so many things, but we really need a dog of a wide receiver. And they said this. She said, close the talent gap with the Cowboys and the Eagles. The Giants are 2-3 in their division games. Last year we were 1-4-1. Right. Fix the offensive line. Oh yeah. Well, we've been saying that since 1837, I think it was. We've been saying that. a lot of decisions there. A lot of, yeah. Do we think we're going to keep trying to with the Zudu and McKeithen because they drafted them 3rd and 5th round? They drafted them, so they have visions upon these guys. We got to get rid of Bobby Johnson. Got to bring somebody in who can coach this and get some better performance out of them. So I don't know what the hell Bobby Johnson's doing. Don't know what that guy's doing. Address the quarterback situation. Now, this is going to be absolutely huge that she has here. Address the quarterback situation. This is one of the other 6 New Year's resolutions that the Giants have. Now, Shane did mention Giants are going to have to, without question, address the quarterback situation without question because, doesn't sound like they're bringing Tyrod back, right? Because even Shane said, yeah, Tyrod's contract's up. Nobody asked him. I don't think anybody asked him. So he didn't have to, I guess, dodge the bullet or dodge the subject. Are you going to resign Tyrod? Well, we're not doing too bad. Yeah. So he didn't have to answer that question. He just said Tyrod's contract's up. Right? But we got Tommy Chicken Cutlet Parmesan. Hold the vodka sauce. He'll be back next season. Now we're gonna get to him in the next little story here. But and we don't. And when Shane was starting, we don't have the crystal ball, so we don't know what's going on with Daniel Jones when he'll be ready. But important, when he is ready, if he's ready week 1 or whatever, he'll be the starting quarterback, right? But we also we don't know the long-term consequence, whatever, of Daniel Jones's injuries, right? I mean, because he had the problem. He had the one a year or 2 ago with his neck. He got injured again towards ACL. Now, what's going on with these? They accumulate because he's been injured a lot. These injuries start accumulating. Could they be, career threatening? Maybe so much that maybe not career threatening, but could they, career hamper his career? So it's going to. Shane also got it, the way he wrote Daniel Jones's contract. They have an out after 2 seasons. Now, the 3rd year, if they get out of it, it's a $20 million cap hit. But if they want, they have a solution. If they draft somebody, right, they can get out after 2 seasons, $20 million cap hit or some dead cap hit, somewhere around there, and they in their hands and move forward with another quarterback. So that's going to be interesting to see what the Giants decide to do, especially in the draft, if they're picking the top 5, because they can trade up. Because not if the especially if the Cardinals are drafted in front of the Giants, right? It seems like they might be quite content with Kyler Murray. Are the Bears? What about with Justin Fields? They go with him. They might draft Marvin Harrison. Give the dude somebody to throw the ball to. All right. I mean, hello, So, so some of the teams in front of the Giants may not be drafting quarterbacks. So that might, the Giants could, or they could jump up to number 1, trade with the Bears or trade with the Cardinals, or the Patriots are definitely looking for a quarterback. The Commanders are definitely looking for a quarterback. You got and then it's the Giants. So so you figure and you don't know. I don't know if the Patriots were to be. The Patriots could also jump in front of the Giants too. But if the Patriots are to beat the Jets, which is very possible, the Patriots have been doing very well of late. And the Giants were to lose to the Eagles, and the Patriots were to beat the Jets. The Giants move up to 4, and the Patriots go behind the Giants. So now there'll be just, Giants would maybe draft in 4th, and it might be just the Commanders. Now, if the Commanders can beat the Cowboys, and the Patriots were to beat the Jets, and the Giants were to lose, the Giants, I think, might slide up to number 3. You have the Cardinals in front, who got Kyler Murray. You got Justin Fields. The Bears drafted number 1, who got Justin Fields. The Giants might be. So, of course, somebody could trade up with one of them and to grab a quarterback. But, it's going to be very interesting to see. Very interesting. This will be huge, especially if the Giants are in a position to draft a quarterback, right? Did you let you know exactly what they think of Daniel Jones going forward? It's going to be very, very interesting. This offseason is going to be as roller coastery and as exciting and dramatic and all of that, almost as this season was right here. Right? This is like General Hospital. As the Giants turn, this offseason is just going to be basically from, let's say, the Giants kick off at 4:25. So by 7:25, just say the game lasts 3 hours, right? From 7:26, okay? From 7:26 until the end of April when the draft comes. Those 4 months are going to be, because you got the draft, right, by the end of April, right? So basically you have what? January, February, March, and April. So you have 4 months. Those 4 months, first 4 months of this year, as I said, from 7:26 p.m. Eastern Standard Time this Sunday, okay, until after the draft's over. It'll be very, very interesting. Very interesting, without question. After the day 3 of the draft, very, very interesting, because you got free agency, you got the draft, and we got to see which coaches are go, which ones get fired. This, very, very interesting. It's going to be, and the shame of it is that the way the Giants are kind of going, is that even next season. When next season rolls around, I don't want to sound like Debbie Down or nothing like that, but when next season rolls around, there's still going to be rebuilding and competing, because we're losing so much this season. We're still far behind this season. We're going to be losing players, trying to rebuild. So we're still going to be next season competing and rebuilding. Just the way it is. But so these next 4 months, starting at 7:26 Eastern Standard Time this Sunday. For the next 4 months, going to be some very, very interesting as the New York Football Giants turn. Going to be it's really interesting stuff. All right, what else you got here? She has just the quarterback situation. There's a couple more. Keep Wink Martindale and get a pass rusher. Yeah, I think overall, I think Winks has done a decent job. The one thing is, you got to look at it too, is that, once again, it's the Albert Einstein theory of relativity. Everything is relative, right? The defense has had that's a couple bad games. No question. But when has the offense ever helped the defense out? The Cardinal game, right? But for the most part, the offense has not been very good. Not been very good. If we can have injuries have been huge. Injuries are, which is really hurt the Giants without question. The offensive line carousel, that's, and a lot of that is just luck or lack thereof luck, right? But if you got a good offense, right, and you can run the ball, and I know this is easier said than done, just get a good offense, just fix the offensive line. I get it, but if you can, keep your offense on the field, keep the clock running, right? Run the ball, get some passes in there, score some points, but keep your defense on the side. If your defense is on the sideline drinking Kool-Aid, how many yards are they giving up? None. How many points are they giving up? For the most part, none, unless your quarterback's throwing pick sixes like Eli used to do a lot, right? But for the most part, your defense is better rested. Right? Instead of, they make a stop and then the offense runs on the field. 1, 2, 3, punt. Okay, the defense is going to come back on the field. Defense makes a stop and the offense can go back on. Our offense comes back on the field. 1, 2, 3, punt. We're not helping the defense out at all. So if the offense can get a little bit better, the defense would get a little bit better by default, because they're not on the field, giving up stats, giving up yards, giving up points. Right? Fix the offense. I know, once again, easier said than done, right? But, the defense get a little bit better, stat-wise. Right? And finally, as I said, keep Wink. I think Winks. I think if there is any, little headbutting between Dable and Wink. Let's hope we can work something out. Wink seems like a heck of a genuine guy, right? Seems like his guys play good, hard for him and everything like that. We do need to work on some of the missed tackles that we've had. That's not very good, but for the most part, I think Wink's done a heck of a good job, and I hope he comes back. I really hope he comes back. And then she also mentioned too about getting a pass rusher. Yeah, because we got Kayvon and we have nobody. Azeez, I said with his injuries, I don't know if they're really just slowing him down. He has like half a sack on the season or one sack. I mean, it's like Carl Banks, I think, at the beginning of the season, and I was almost kind of agreeing with him. Said, if Kayvon stays in healthy he said, I'll bet you gets like 15 sacks. And it's like, he has got nothing close to that. Nothing close to that. Now, and the thing is, not only do we need another pass rusher, but we need another backup pass rusher. So we really need two pass rushers. As I say, next season's Azeez's fourth season. I don't know if we're going to bring him back. And other than that, who do we got? Tolman Fox, Hottie, Boogie Basham. I mean, so we got nobody. Nobody. And if you want to compete with some of these big boys, they just keep bringing them in. They'll take two edge rushers, run them off the field. Another two good edge rushers come onto the field, right? I mean, they just recycle them. I mean, it's like a edge rusher factory. They just keep running onto the field. We got one guy, right? One guy. So along the long laundry list of stuff that we need, right? Two edge rushers, two. Not one. We need two. We need Kayvon. We need two more because you need Kayvon. You need somebody to take place of Azeez, and you need at least a backup. I mean, we got backups. We got, but capable backups, ones that can actually get pressure. We don't have that. Don't have that. All right. So then finally, the Tommy chicken cutlet parmesan. Hold the vodka sauce on the side. It's a little report here says. And you gotta think about it a little bit. It kind of makes a little bit of sense. Benched, I mean, a New York host says this. I don't know if they know this for certain or sure or whatever, but guys just seem to think that, who is this here? Who are this? Manuel Gomez from NJ.com kind of seems to think that, he might have been benched. Or is inclining that maybe he got benched because he's not taking his job very, very seriously. And some of it, I mean, there's a point in here I want to bring up here. Giants head coach Brian Daboll's decision to continue to bench Tommy DeVito is baffling ESPN New York. Michael K. Okay, so maybe it's Michael K. Thinking about it. After being benched for the second half of the team's 33-25 loss against the Eagles in Week 16, Daboll went to Tyrod Taylor. And we only had 3 points. I mean, we were down, 20-3? Right? In Week 17, Tyrod was the quarterback against the Rams, though it's not official. DeVito will likely sit on the bench again in Giants' final game of the season against Philadelphia unless Tyrod gets injured, which is always a possibility. But Kay, who hosts the Michael Kay show, provided his theory for why Daboll has lost faith in DeVito, whose 6-game stretch as a Giants starting quarterback included numerous paid appearances and signings at various New Jersey establishments. And that's maybe you do that in the off season. Why are you doing that during the regular season? Knowing how Daboll rocks, do you think he likes the fact that Tommy DeVito is cashing in on his 15 minutes of fame? He's doing signings and going to restaurants. People are going to say that his off day anyway, not good enough, Kay said in his first hour of his program on Tuesday. If you want to be great in this league, do you think Tom Brady, went and made appearances on his day off? No, he did not. He studied film every second of the day. Every second of the day, Tom Brady did something, what can I do to make myself better? What can I do? Every second of the day. Now, this doesn't mean that Tommy DeVito would ever be a Tom Brady or nothing like that, but he can certainly take his attitude. And instead of, getting on, during the pregame warm-ups and stuff, seeing Tommy DeVito on the sideline with with his agent on the phone talking like this and stuff like that. I mean, can we, maybe wait till the off season or something like that? It's like his day off. What are you doing? Oh, I'm signing, doing signings. I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and all. Can we wait till maybe the off season? Can we maybe win some games here or something like that? Right? Take your job a little more seriously. This guy's got a little point here. So when you're at whatever restaurant or you're taking pictures, do you think Dable likes that? You don't think that gets his attention? You're getting a chance to be a quarterback in the NFL, and you're doing all these appearances on your day off rather than being at the complex watching tape over and over and over again. That's what the great ones do. Steve Young once said, you completely give up your life to this job. Yes, you do, if you want to be good. I said, look at Daniel Jones, right? Now, he's ever going to be a Steve Young or a Tom Brady? No. But he does everything he possibly can to be the best quarterback. He gives himself every possible the best opportunities to be successful in this league. Watching tape and this, that, he's always in there and everything. Like, he's not out signing stuff, going to restaurants, taking, right? DeVito, an undrafted quarterback out of Syracuse, played well after losing his first start 49-17 against the Cowboys in Week 10. He rolled off 3 consecutive wins against the Commanders, Patriots, and Packers, completing 66.7% of his passes, 66 out of 99, with 7 touchdowns and 1 interception, a 105.7 quarterback rating in his first 4 games. Very impressive. And, of course, the 1 interception was, I think, against the Cowboys. Since then, he's lost his touch, losing 24-6 to the Saints in Week 15 and sitting out the second half of the Week 16 game against the Eagles. Well, because in a game and a half, he scored 6 points, 2 field goals against the Saints, and 3 points, 1 field goal against the Eagles. So in a game and a half, he didn't score a touchdown at all. In those 2 games, DeVito was 29 out of 50, 58% completion percentage without a touchdown or an interception and a 69.7 quarterback rating. In 8 games, 6 starts this season, DeVito has posted a 3-3 quarterback record, going 112 for 176, 63.6 completion percentage, 8 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. His 88.9 quarterback rating tops Daniel Jones and Tyrod Taylor's, which leaves DeVito disappointed in Coach Dable's decision. DeVito said it hurts before Week 17's game against the Rams. That's part of being a competitor, but at the same time, it's part of the position. It's part of the business, part of my job as of now, right now. Well, I know he's humble and all that stuff and everything, but I think he can certainly go out of his way and take his job a little more seriously. Are you doing everything? As what Steve Young said, you give up your life. If you want to be a quarterback in the NFL, you're giving up your life. And once your career is over with, you give up your life for 10 years or whatever it is. Once the world is your oyster. You can be a analyst. You can do this. You can do that. You can make even more money once. But for the time being, if you want to be a quarterback in the NFL, there's no days off. So hopefully Tommy DeVito takes it seriously, because if the Giants do go out and draft themselves a quarterback in the top 5 or whatever like that, or even in the second round, right? It's going to drop Tommy DeVito down the draft, the pecking order, right? Now, so that doesn't mean it doesn't mean another team won't pick him up, right? The Giants were able to let him go. But regardless, he just can't just step in there and, hey, go to a restaurant and do some signings and go out, throw a couple touchdown passes and come back and do another signing. You got to take it seriously, because if you don't, somebody else will. All right, guys, it's been 1 hour and 9 minutes. Holy cow. Almost a record here, guys. So whoever spent any time listening to me live, thank you so much. It means the world to me. Or if anybody spends any time watching the replays, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. As always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo!